Hello there, my name's Lorne reporting in for... Come on, you know you wanna...
2-Bit Gaming!
Like, share, subscribe. There you go, isn't that lovely? Keeping with tradition. On this edition, I thought I'd talk about a game that is difficult to pitch from the off. It just seems pretty generic. It seems like it doesn't really have anything to offer you when you've got games like this that are a dime a dozen. But dig a little deeper, and this game actually has a tremendous amount to offer a standard gamer, plus even more to offer gamers that are willing to grind through the initial stages. Rush Rover. Rush Rover is a 2D top-down shooter game. Compared to other similar games of the genre, the shooting experience is closer to a traditional shoot-'em-up game. It includes random map generation, unique weapons, lots of different enemies, exciting boss battles, and a dynamic, chiptune soundtrack. Released on the 30th of November 2017 and developed and published by Radio and Indie Nova, in the universe of Rush Rover, intelligent robots and mining exploration have spread over every known galaxy. After the War of Independence against humanity, these highly intelligent and powerful machines attempt to rule over everything, so they start hacking other robots. You control a clean mining rover, picking up weapons and rushing to survive. Hence the term Rush Rover, I guess. It features roguelike gameplay, random map generation, unique weapons, customized upgrading system, blueprint collection, exciting boss battles, various enemies, bullet hell gameplay, sci-fi pixel art, and 8-bit style soundtracks. It's currently available on Steam at £4.79 or £2.39 as it's on sale at this present moment. So what do I mean by it has a little bit to offer the generic gamer but more? Well, it comes in two of the points that the game synopsis reads. The random map generation and the number of weapons and different items that the game drops. Because as you play the game initially, it seems pretty rudimental. Point and shoot. The controls I like, by the way. There's no trigger per se. You use the directions to shoot, and the longer you hold the direction it shoots, and obviously there's a different pattern, so you have different frequencies, strength of attack, different bursts of attack, different weapons. And the movement is good, it's solid, it's sharp, it's right where it needs to be. The responsiveness of this game is one of the things that I absolutely adore about it. I never felt cheap. It cheaped in this game at all, even with the bosses that are spraying projectiles everywhere. So long as you're monitoring the rover rather than the projectile, it's actually really easy to dance past a lot of the projectiles in this game and make it almost not too easy, because there's always enough enemies at any given stage to make it difficult. But the combat is challenging but fair. I always love a game that gives you just that little bit of an edge, just a teeny tiny little bit of an edge to give you a fighting chance against everything else on the screen. But it's that different element of every single gameplay session that means that this game is so... It's got another one... It's difficult to put my finger on, but it's got that one more go mentality, but not because you think you can beat a certain section, because again, the maps are randomly generated, so even if you come to the same section, chances are you're gonna have gone through a whole different other set of sections in order to get to it, so the gameplay session itself is going to be completely different. But more to the point, you just feel like you learn a little bit, you adapt a little bit better in the next one, you learn how to utilize the game's upgrade mechanics, you learn how best to maneuver around certain enemies, how to bottleneck them, how to avoid the bigger enemies and the bosses. The game you continuously adapt even though it's not anything that you can anticipate. You learn and you grow within the game's boundaries. For instance, the game is incredibly generous with its drops. So there's boxes or these things that you can destroy throughout the course of the map that give you points that let you buy upgrades. However, if you perform well on a given map, say you don't take any damage, or you complete a specific section in a certain amount of time, you get additional boxes, and these can have either more points or additional goodies. And these can be not only additional upgrades that you have, but new weapons, new pieces of armor that will grant you different abilities, and can even completely radically change the style of gameplay. For instance, some of the weapons, they're more area-based, I guess. They have like a wave function that takes out multiple enemies, but it means you have to let them get within range, which means that your ability to dodge their projectiles or outrun them is diminished. However, there's other upgrades standard upgrades such as your powertrain, which makes you faster and more nimble. You have the boost upgrade, which means that your boost lasts longer, recharges more quickly, you get more of them, you get stronger weaponry. You also have a probe, that little teeny tiny probe that shoots as well. He can have different upgrades like a stun or a static effect that slows enemies down when they're coming towards you or shoots themselves. And obviously the weapon that you use as well, a probe gun you start with, and then you get heavier weapons as you continue to progress. And the progression in this game is steady enough but rewarding enough that you never completely forget about it. Some games you have an upgrade system and you almost forget about it unless it makes a really big deal about the fact that, oh, you've upgraded, congratulations, look forward to getting another upgrade in a year and a half. Whereas this game, you get them periodically, and you get a little notification above your head that says core, which means that you can upgrade some aspect of your character. But it's rewarding gameplay all round. The enemies, they come at you fast and slow. Some have projectiles, some don't. Some spawn little tiny teeny enemies, mini bosses and sub bosses, for instance. Then you get the boss battles, which are not as arduous as you might think. They certainly present somewhat of a challenge, but the first two bosses, for instance, you can take down with enough effort. And so long as you've saved enough of your energy and your health from the previous missions and you don't go in stupid, they're actually quite easy to take down once you get the hang of, again, avoiding projectiles, attacking when you can, and not pressing the attack so much that you put yourself in unnecessary danger. Suffice it to say that this game has a ton going for it in terms of its gameplay. Absolutely fantastic, sharp, fun, rewarding gameplay. The shooting, taking down enemies, it just encourages you to go that one little step, and you can take it at your own pace, going in different sections that have different level markers to indicate how hard they're going to be. You can complete all of the sections at once, or if you're going for a speed run, you can just attempt to get to the bosses as quickly as you can, or you can take your time, be more methodical, maybe use the mini games as well where you survive waves of enemies. You can take it at your own pace. It offers you every opportunity to play the game at your pace and as many times as you like with no penalization. But bear in mind it is an arcade game, so if you die, you have to start again. So don't get too attached to your character as you upgrade. Again, just try and remember the skills and the abilities that it teaches you rather than get too attached to a particular weapon, because the chances are, again, because it has so many weapon upgrades and there's different variations on the armor sets, yeah, you're probably not going to see that again for a little while. But what about the rest of the game? Well, I love its style. The 8-bit style, it's smooth, all the animations are beautiful. I didn't come across any game-breaking bugs, so it's very stable. The enemies all have a different vibe and feel for them, but they're bright yellow most of the time, which means that they stand out against the grey of the background. I like that. Again, when you're trying to avoid projectiles, it's good to be able to see them on the periphery vision of your character rather than fixate on all the multiple different enemies. I like the soundtrack as well. It can get repetitive on the first few minutes. If you leave it running on pause, for instance, it's just going to tick over and drive you insane. But I like the general feel of the game. It's upbeat, it's futuristic and scientific, it's arcadey all at the same time. It's got that retro feel, but it's that honed retro feel where you just think that every nook and cranny of this game has been crafted and honed to almost perfection. And my golden rule, is the game fun? Yeah, the core gameplay of this game is honed and good and sharp and rewarding and satisfying and fun, and everything else is the icing on the cake. And for the price point, it's excellent value for money. You can get hours and hours and hours and hours of replayability of this, and it's super easy to pick up and play. The nuances are more difficult, and the upgrade system takes a little bit long to understand what is worth upgrading and when. A great game for its price point. I don't understand why you wouldn't get it, especially on the Xbox One where it's super easy to play. I'd imagine on the PC it's going to be a bit more tricky with the mouse and the keys. It's so much easier with the controller, by the way. If you can play this game on a controller, even if you're on PC, you need to. You will punish yourself on a mouse and keys if you don't. But check this game out if you haven't. I think it's absolutely brilliant. If I'm going to rate it, it's not super duper absolutely amazing. It's not 9 or 10 echelon, it's 8, but it comes with a really good recommendation for the price point. I'd highly recommend you go out and pick this game up if you haven't done already. But what do you think? Rush Rover, top-down shooter game. Have you played it? If not, what are some of the other top-down shooters that you played recently? Do you enjoy the genre, or do you find it frustrating as hell? Do you prefer a different type of shooter game? Perhaps third person or first person, third person? Third person? I don't know. There's so many persons. There's a person for everybody these days. Which one's yours? Leave us your thoughts in the comments section below. But in the meantime though, thank you very much for watching this edition of Risley Reviews on 2-Bit Gaming. My name's been Lorne Risley, host. Please check out my other videos on this channel. Please indeed feel free to check out some of the other content creators on this channel as well. They'll be churning out some good stuff, and also go check us out on 2bitgaming.com. Be sure to keep track of us on the socials, and yeah, take care of yourselves, I guess. It's a crazy world out there. Stay inside, game, and then watch 2-Bit Gaming. Much safer, sexier too. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week.